All right, what's up, guys? Sorry, my dentist finally called me back. I'm a bit worried my mouth isn't healing properly, so they are getting me. I'm going back in tomorrow to make sure everything is healing the right way, which it might not be, because that would be my fucking luck. Anyway, did Jimmy die? No, but hashtag RIP Jimmy is very funny. Welcome to stream. Welcome to stream. We're here to debate. I don't know how long I'll be here because my mouth is still hurting. But I'm here. Hey, listen. I'm gonna make this known for we already have a caller, which is cool. We'll get to them in a second. I'm gonna make this known for YouTube, for super chatters. This weekend, I'm going to a conference in DC. I'm leaving Sunday. I'll be gone until like Wednesday night, I think. If you are going to send a super chat, this is only if you already plan on sending a super chat, okay? This is only if you already plan on sending a super chat. If you're sending a super chat, consider Cash App or Venmo today. The reason why is because, like, I'd like to have a little spending money in DC, and the super chats, I don't get access to that money until 2 months from now, right? If you send a super chat anytime in May, I can't get access to that until the end of June. So if you're like, hey, I'm gonna send a super chat to Jovan today, consider, if you're not gonna send a super chat, don't send any money, right? Like this is only if you were already planning to send a super chat, okay? Just personally, if you're already planning to send a super chat. If you're not, don't. It's not money. It's not like I don't need the money. I'm just saying if you were already like, oh, I'm going to send Jovan a super chat to read today. Okay? Oh. Basically going to be. Billy, you so nice, Billy. Everybody say W to Billy. YouTube, it's not that YouTube is fucking with us. It's more just like that's just the nature of content creation. If I earn money on any app, you don't get it until they process it all. Can we get some W's for Billy Sipes, like always? Also, hashtag RIP Jimmy in chat. So yeah, our debate today has been rescheduled. Just FYI. Because Jimmy got into a car accident last night. He got into a wreck. He's okay. He's fine. But that means we have rescheduled our debate. So, we are here to debate today. 219-327-8005 is the phone number. I'm going to repeat that number again. 219-327-8005. If you want to debate, call in. Okay? No. Me and Jimmy, we're going to debate two MAGA peeps. Yes, tomorrow, but we're not doing that now because he got into a thing. All right. 219-327-8005. Let us take our first call of the day. Oh, we did have a redeem. We had a redeem. Shit. 2 birthday redeems. Who was it? Nobody told me who the birthday redeems are for, but we got 2 birthday redeems. Let me see. Fratsu and Manic Marcy. Here you go. This song is for the 2 of you.
You could be a birthday baddie too. A very happy baddie birthday to you.
Gang, 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 gang. All right, let's take our first call of the day. Coming up to stream, we have Cody from Wisconsin. Cody is calling to talk about topic number 1, trans men and women being men and women. Cody, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
Yep, 21 he him.
All right, Cody, do you disagree with the topic trans men and women or men and women?
I do disagree. I lean towards disagreeing.
Okay, why so?
So I guess two reasons that we could sort of work with is one of them, I am concerned about parody arguments that sometimes are used to justify the sort of trans inclusive worldview. I think that we can make parody arguments that maybe make them fail. And then the
Parody
other
arguments?
reason is going to be
What parody arguments specifically?
yes. Sure. So, for example, I note or see that many people, when discussing whether trans women are women, they'll point to sort of the academic sense of the word and how it's used within, more specifically academia, the social construct, or sort of like that sort of notion of the word. And I guess my issue would be that when it comes to the word theory has a layperson's notion to it, and it has a academic sense to it. But if I were to say something like, hey, I'm just out in public and I say, your body is made of cells, that's not merely a theory, it's a fact. When I
What do
say
you
that
think
it's a
theory means?
well, I think that when a layperson says theory, they just mean like a hunch or a guess. And I think that academically, it means some sort of deep, well-established empirical-based explanation. So kind of back to the example briefly, when I say in public that your body is made of cells, that's not a theory, it's a fact. In some sense, that's rendered true. But then you could, potentially say, well, in other senses, the academic sense of theory, it's actually true that my body is made of cells as a theory, right? Cell theory. So I feel like you could make the same move with women and say, hey, when I say that trans women are women, there is a lay person's sense that may exclude females, and in that sense, it's rendered true, although there does exist an academic notion in which it's not rendered true.
Why are we thinking so hard on this?
I want to, the debate is interesting, and I want to just be on sort of the more rational or more consistent side. And I just kind of want to see people's thoughts on these sort of objections.
I'm not under, can you give me just a brief syllogism of the stance? Because I'm not connecting the
Sure.
dots here on the contention.
Yeah, so I guess maybe the contention is something like, premise one, like if a word, can have like just one meaning, and you don't need to like quote unquote multiply senses beyond the necessity, then you shouldn't. And I understand that there are many words that do need to have multiple senses, right?
I didn't.
Okay.
If that's the P1, what was P2? I'm a little confused.
P2 would be something like, the word woman, based off of looking at parody arguments and based off of, other sort of like, I guess, objections, we can come to the conclusion that woman doesn't need or have several senses.
Doesn't need or have several senses?
Maybe like several senses exist, but like I'm justified in, at least like, you could say that like the premise is that I am justified in only holding to one sense of the word within certain contexts.
Can you give what the parody argument would be in opposition to trans women and trans men being women and men?
Yes. So for example, a parody argument is going to be something like, so the trans inclusive person says the reason that trans women are women is because academics have this term, this notion that's a social construct or it's a cluster concept, and we're trying to, have this sort of deeper meaning about this gender identity. And okay, so there's this academic notion. Now, there's also a deeper academic notion about what a planet is. All right, like a planet, very specifically within academia, Pluto is excluded. But when I say in public that Pluto is a planet, to my 12-year-old brother, I'm justified in saying that that's true in this sort of layperson sense of what a planet is. But in a more formal setting, maybe it's rendered false. So I'm saying that with woman, in a more layperson sense, it's justified
How
to
would you
say
be
that, yeah, in
how
the
would you
sense
be
that I'm using it.
justified in saying Pluto is a planet?
Well, that's a good question. So I guess if I'm speaking with people out about and in public, it seems like the way in which people use the like it seems like, well, number one, it just seems intuitively most people agree that Pluto's a planet. I'm not sure if that's much of an argument, but like if you were to sort of try to explain ostensibly to like your brother what are planets, and you say we have different planets like Pluto and Mars and whatnot. Maybe it. I don't want to just say it seems justified, but maybe a better example is like with the word theory that I brought up earlier. This works with several words, by the way, but like with theory, it would totally seem justified for me to say that like evolution is a fact. It's not just a theory, right? Like, does that seem plausible to you?
I would say yes, it's justified to say evolution is a fact, but that's because theory doesn't mean not fact. So even if you said evolution is a theory,
Yeah.
that would still be a justified position because theory just means in science like a well-established, repeatable, testable rule.
Yes. Okay. Let me try to actually reword that sort of argument I'm trying to make real quick. What if I said your body being made of cells is not merely a theory? It's also something that we definitively know.
I would say
It would seem like
you're
that.
again misusing the word theory.
Okay. Okay. So you would
Like,
say there that I'm just misusing the word theory.
well, yeah, theory
Okay.
in a scientific sense means a well-established, testable like rule or like it's theories are
Oh,
essentially
right.
facts, like right, like if I were to say the theory of gravity, right, that doesn't mean that we're like gravity is this hypothetical thing. Gravity 100% exists. We 100% have tested it. We know it exists. We know the speed at which things fall.
Yeah.
It's just theory is a phrase in science. I think the word theory has been misused by a lot of people who like use it in terms of like when they think of theory, they think, oh, we're guessing these things, but that's not what like
Mhm.
that's not what a theory is in science.
Well, what if somebody said it's true that me and my friend have a theory about why the store's closed today?
Yes, that would
Like, would
not
that
be
not be a proper?
science. That wouldn't be science though. That's you just guessing about something in your like everyday life.
But it would seem, but like that statement right there seems to be true. Like, it really does
Yes,
seem to be
because the
that if
word
me and my
theory
friend
has
were
two different
thinking,
the word theory has two different definitions. It depends on the context of how you're using it.
okay, okay, I agree there. So it has two different definitions. Now, I guess what I'd be saying with woman is, okay, now if woman has like two theories, and sometimes when I'm using a certain sense of that word or a certain definition of the word woman, it can be rendered true that trans women are not women. So if I'm like using the
No, because
layperson's, you know,
words don't have an or, right? Like if I have a word with multiple definitions, because I think the word woman can have multiple definitions. One of the word for women, one of the definitions for women can be an adult human female. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that that's
mhm.
an or thing. Like it's got to be this or and it can't be the other. It's an and thing. These can be women and people with a gender identity that aligns with like this is just a base level definition. People with a gender identity that aligns with like typical femininity or femaleness can be a definition, right? It's an and, not an or.
Okay, so for example, if I look at somebody's, um, okay, so if I look at somebody and I say that it's it's a theory that their body is made of cells. Since theory is an and there, since there's an and, there's like a conjunction of different right
Our
definitions
body
there.
being made of
It would
cells
be
isn't a
true.
wait. When you say that sentence, it's a theory that our body is made of cells. How are you using theory in that context?
So in that context, I'm talking about a very like layperson, like you're out at a restaurant and you say it and
So
intuitively it seems crazy, right?
in everyday language, the way we use theory is it's to mean like a hunch. So you would be, but that
Mhm.
wouldn't be when you say it's a theory our body is made of cells. That's not a hunch. We don't have to make a hunch that our body is made of cells. We know this for scientific fact that our body is made of cells. So you can say with a
right.
but then I don't know why you would even be using the word theory to begin with.
Well, because so this is to demonstrate that you agree that there is a definition of theory that would render that statement true, correct? Like there is a sense of the word theory that would if I were to say your body is being made of cells is just a hunch. No, there's a sense of the word that renders it false, right? There's a definition for theory that would render this.
No.
Okay, let's just get clear here.
It would render it subjective. It would render it subjective because when you use theory in the phrase of a hunch, that's like an opinion. You're basically saying it's my opinion that this is the case. So then it would just render it subjective. It wouldn't render it true or false.
It would render it subjective.
It would render the sentence subjective. It wouldn't render the underlying fact that our body is made out of cells subjective. It would just render the way you phrase that sentence to be a subjective sentence, not an like you're subjectively talking about something, you're not objectively talking about something. But again, I don't know why anyone would use the word theory in this way. It's just a misuse of the word as we colloquially use it, right? It doesn't even feel like you. It feels like the word theory. It feels like you want to use a different. It feels like you're using the word theory in replace of a different word. Like there's some other word here that you should be using, but you keep going with theory.
I could say yes, but okay. So let's just maybe use the store example just one more time, and then we could just move past this point because maybe I'm just not keeping correct track here. But if I say that I have a theory as to why the store is closed, right?
Okay.
Now you would agree that the word theory has two meanings, right?
Depending on the context of the way you use it, yes.
Sure. Okay. And now
in this case, you would be using it. Well, it actually has more than two, but in the context of the way you're using it in that sentence, it's just a hunch or a guess or an opinion.
Correct. But so now there is a sense of this word. There is a definition of this word that exists that would render, that would maybe render this like false. Like if I say that,
because it wouldn't render. What? It wouldn't render if you use theory in the context that you're using it. You're making a guess. Your guess can be wrong, but the sentence being false wouldn't make any sense. This isn't. We don't talk about that in a true or false thing.
Wait a minute. But if I'm saying that I have a theory, and by theory I mean a robust explanation based off of empirical data, would that statement not be false now?
No, because you're not doing the scientific method to get to that theory. So you're not using it in the scientific sense. You'd be using it in the everyday common language sense, which is I have a hunch. I have a guess.
I agree.
I have an opinion. I don't know how this ties into the topic, Cody. This just feels... Honestly, it feels very Philbroy. Like we're saying a bunch of nonsense that doesn't actually connect.
I'm trying to nail in this analogy that.
Well, that's why I asked you to just provide a syllogism. We don't need the analogy if you can just provide a comprehensive syllogism for what you're talking about. Then we don't even need the analogy. I know you're P1, P2, and C.
Well, this is like an analogical argument. I mean, I'm not even sure how I would syllogize this, but
what?
Jovan, can I just for one more minute here, just try to explain the point? So the point here is saying that there are several definitions for a word or several senses that a word can have. Okay, we both agree with that, like the word theory, the word woman, and that depending on how you use sort of the word within a certain context, right? You could be like misusing the word theory, or you could be like using the word theory in a more academic sense, right? Or in a more layperson sense. So I'm saying, what would your rebuttal be to somebody who just comes up to you and says, listen, when I say that trans women are women, there is a sense of the word that is just male exclusive. It It's just a very layperson sense of the word, and I don't see why I have to even abide by or hold to the semantics that academics use.
What would I say if someone came up and said that to me? I would say this sounds silly. I would say you're purposely being like obtuse for no reason.
Okay, well, you could say, but they could, I mean, in theory, they could just say the same thing about you. They could say it seems silly to include, like,
Yes, but I can
male
ground
woman, but
I can ground my reasoning. Right now they haven't grounded their reasoning in anything other than I don't like it. Which
okay,
okay,
so what if the
cool.
argument says
Phenomenal.
what if it's my second point here about simplicity, about how, if we could have a language system that if we have a word and we could just have one meaning for it, and that's the only, and that could explain all the data, for lack of a better word, right? It can explain all the linguistic data, it can explain all the language that we use, then it seems like that would be preferable over holding to a word that has multiple meanings or multiple senses. I think that
I'm sorry.
there's a philosopher
Most
that came
words
up
have
with this.
wait, that's just not how language works.
Mhm.
Most words have multiple meanings. Like almost all of them.
I I agree, but
So then
I
we're
guess
holding this
wouldn't it be
word to hold on, but
preferable?
now no, we're now holding this word to a standard we don't hold to any other word. That's just special
Oh,
pleading.
no. No. Let me try to explain why not. Because when other words have other like distinct meanings, like the word depression, for example, like there's like an academic sense of the word depression. It seems like
What?
academia has,
Depression
yeah,
has
like you
like
would agree that
4
like
different
depression has.
meanings,
I agree. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying since
but like a
depression has
bunch
multiple
of them
different
aren't
meanings,
academic.
I agree, but one of them is right.
Okay. Oh, Cody, you're not making a coherent point right now.
Let me try to put it in the most structured languages possible, the most structured logic possible. So when words have multiple meanings or multiple senses, there needs to be a reason or justification as why this new sense or definition came about, right? Like if imagine right now,
No, there
just
doesn't.
hypothetically,
Wait. Do you think there needs to be an academic reason this thing came about just to create a new definition of a word?
no, not an academic reason. Of course, you could have slang, right? You could have slang, and that's fine. But so
All that
Jovan,
it
let me
takes
give you an example to try to.
wait. It just
Mhm.
all that it takes for a word to change meaning is just enough people start using it a different way. That's it. Doesn't
Okay,
like
that's fair.
that's it. That's all it
That's
takes.
fair. But okay, so let me try to. I have two responses to that. Okay, number one, um, so what? Let's just say this: you consider Trump to be like, let's say, one of the things that you could describe him as is tyrannical, maybe, right, or fascist in nature, right, something like that.
I mean, I describe his administration as fascist, yeah.
Okay,
But I don't
sure.
know what that's to do with.
Now, if we get enough people, like, in the like Amish community that have reproduced a ton, like they have all these communities that we didn't know about, and they have this other sense of the word fascist that specifically excludes Trump's regime. Now, would you say that since there's a ton of people that use this notion of the word fascist, which excludes Trump, they are correct when they say that Trump is not a fascist?
By their worldview, they would be correct. But I would have to
Okay.
know how they're defining
Um,
the word, why they're defining the word that way. And then I would say, I mean, my argument here would be like, yeah, but when we look at like where the word fascism comes from and we look at the study of fascist leaderships, this is why my usage of the word would be more correct than yours. But again, I don't understand how
okay.
this is like how this is relating to the point in any way.
Yeah, because it seems like if we allow, okay, so if we allow this word woman to have multiple senses and multiple definitions, right? Because enough people use the term this way. Now, if I guess like, yeah, I guess what if you have like a just sort of like a bunch of MAGA people that they commonly say things like this election was like literally, I don't know, um, or like, okay, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example of what's a word that they misuse. Um, what if they say something like, oh yeah, trans people are delusional. Trans people are delusional, right? Now, if you're saying that a word, if enough people use it in a certain way, it obtains that meaning. So how are you saying that the word delusional doesn't obtain a new meaning when MAGA people use it this way?
Because the MAGA people just use it because they hear it a bunch, right? They're not using it based off of any like this is where this is going. When a MAGA person uses the phrase delusional, they're not grounding it in anything.
Mm-hmm.
When I say the phrase, when I say that trans women are women, I am grounding that in something. So yes, you can make any word mean anything if enough people use it enough, but we can still argue about the meanings of those words because they are subjective. So I would just say, like, subjectively, your definition is incoherent because you're not grounding it in anything.
Okay, awesome. I like that point. Can we just briefly go over what does grounded, like, maybe not what does grounded mean, but like, what are you grounding when you have this academic sense of the word woman? When you have this, whether it's a cluster concept or a gender identity, what is that grounded in?
What am I when I say are trans women women? What am I grounding that in? Sociology and psychology.
Yeah, because
and neurology.
There's like a sense of the word neurology. Okay,
I'm grounding it in sociology, psychology, and neurology.
Geology. Okay. Now, let me try to think here real quick.
Unfortunately, Cody, we're out of time.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I mean, I appreciate it. We can continue this some other day, hopefully.
All right, we could try.
Okay, all right, sounds good. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
What in the field, bro? Hell. We got a few Balthazar, and who is that on Venmo? And Jay and cynical, both paid to boot. You you have to be able to formulate your arguments a little better, or your questions, at least, if you're not making an argument. Just a reminder, if you do want to super chat today, consider sending it via Venmo or PayPal, or I'm sorry, Venmo or Cash App, just because. Jeffrey, thank you for the Venmo. Shout out to you. All the super chats though still will get read on screen at the end of the show. That was our only call. So we don't have any other calls right now. 219-327-8005 if you want to call in. Were you tripping, Jovan? I'm going to DC for a conference. Hopefully my mouth feels better by then. Anyway. MAGA, why are you so scared to call in? Because they don't want to lose. I genuinely couldn't tell you what Cody's argument is because he didn't make it clear. Guys, like the live if you're watching on YouTube. I'm afraid the dentist has your mouth still hurting. Who knows? Who knows? They're going to check it out tomorrow. Oh, yeah. How many Twitch streaks were ruined the other day, I wonder? I don't actually know. It looks like most people's is still intact. Maybe you have to stream for a specific length of time. Did you develop dry socket? What the fuck is that? It is not an intense pain. Let me just say that. Do you have any input on the turf TikTok business going on? What is that? No, it's definitely not dry socket. If the pain is that bad, you know, the pain is still there, but it's manageable. Like even this morning before I had taken my meds, the pain was there, but I was like, okay. Yeah, Jimmy's fine, but hashtag RIP Jimmy is funny to me. Do you feel it in your jaw? No. I feel it where the stitches are. What I think is happening is I think the stitches keep making it so the gums aren't healing where the stitches are specifically. But who knows? I'm going to have them look at it tomorrow. Was it Venerbrator or worse? Let me see if Jimmy will let me share the photos with chat. But at the end of the day, Jimmy's fine. Jimmy's fine. So don't worry about it. He's okay. But also, hashtag RIP Jimmy is funny. And if I'm on tonight on Calling It Now, I don't know what the plan is for tonight now. But if we do a Calling It Now tonight, I'm definitely starting the show with a memorial to Jimmy. I'm going to get a bunch of pictures of Jimmy and a royalty-free song that sounds like Sarah McLachlan. In the arms of an angel, fly away from here. I don't know. I think Jimmy is. I don't know what we're doing tonight. I don't know if we're just canceling completely. We might be, which I'm also okay with. 219-327-8005, guys. Let's get some calls going. Where we at? To an AI, we are Charlie Kirk style tribute. That's so funny. I much prefer this layout to the corporate shit you had in the past. It's my new style is 90s. We out here going 90s, bro. Oh my God, we start saying Jimmy's accident was a hit by the Trump administration. That's crazy. We are Charlie Kirk. We carry your mom. Oh, that's a lot more light on my face. We are Jimmy Snow. That's so funny. You guys are crazy today. 219-327-8005. Where the callers at today? Tomorrow we'll have Dalton and Jeff on the stream. I don't know how many of you know Jeff, but he's a friend of mine from my TikTok days. He'll be joining for a Thea stream. Thursday, I'll have Godless Engineer on, John from the line. And then Mandisa, who runs who runs Black Non-Believers, is going to be on around, I think I said around 1. We're going to talk to you guys about ROR, Revival of Reason, and try to get you guys to buy tickets for the virtual event and possibly the in-person event. I don't know. Fuck it. Lisa Raid, what up, Lisa? Can we get a shout out to Lisa in the chat, mods? There we go. Thank you. What up, people from Lisa's chat? Any good debates so far today? No. Have you tried out Subnautica 2 multiplayer yet? I played single player and I've already beaten all of Subnautica 2. Well, all of what they have released. I've got nothing else to do in that game. So now I just sit and wait for the next major update. I don't think... When did I take my meds last? Shit. Was it 9 or 10? I don't... When can I take ibuprofen after I've already taken acetaminophen? Popped like 3 acetaminophen earlier. When can I pop 800 milligrams of ibuprofen? Five to 6 hours. God, I didn't set a timer for when I took... I genuinely don't remember when I took these meds. How long was I out of the house today? Oh, you know how I can find out? You know how I can find out? I called Katie when I left the house. 3 hours. I called Katie 3 hours ago, which means I always call Katie when I go to the store. It's like a fucking ritual I have that when I go to the store, I call my friend who lives in Scotland. 3 hours ago. That means I should be able to take ibuprofen. That means I probably took my meds 4 hours ago. So I'll give it another hour. Chat is lying. You can take them together. You don't have to wait at all. They don't interact. Is that true? Also, if I do it like one time, who cares, right? This doesn't sound true. I did 750 milligrams of ibuprofen or of acetaminophen. I've not done any ibuprofen since like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning. So do we think I'd be good to pop like 4 ibuprofen right now? Yo, is chat gonna make me OD? I take 4 ibuprofen because it's just 200 milligram tablets. Like my doctor gave me a 400 milligram one, but the tablet's so big I hate taking it. So I just take 4 200 milligrams. It wasn't Tylenol I took Equate, headache relief. It's got acetaminophen. Oh, it has aspirin. This has aspirin in it, which is the same thing as the ibuprofen, right? Yeah, wait. This has aspirin in it. So that means technically I also popped 250 milligrams of this. So then, yeah, no, I should wait. Isn't there? But they're both NSAID. Are you motherfuckers lying to me? I'm just waiting. I'm thinking I don't trust any of you right now. I'm not getting my fucking chat, my medical advice from chat right now. I feel like I shouldn't take 750 milligrams of aspirin and then 800 milligrams of Tylenol, or of ibuprofen within the same like 3-hour period. Wait, it's almost 4 o'clock. I definitely took them at like 10 a.m. I definitely took them at like 10 a.m. Right? All of 10, all of 11, all of 12, all of 1, all of 2, all of 3. It's definitely been 6 hours, actually, now that I think about it. It absolutely has been 6 hours. I definitely took them at 10. Also, I won't die. Also, I won't die from doing it one time. God, when did I take this Equate? even if I know for a fact I took it before I left for the store, and I left for the store at around noon. So even if I took it around noon, that means it's been about 4 hours. Yeah, I should just wait. I should just wait. Meg, thank you for the Venmo, because I found someone who counts time + hours the way I do. Yeah, for me to count hours the way I do it, like if somebody's like, if I'm like, oh, what's 5 hours from right now? Let's say it's 4 o'clock. I'm like, what's 5 hours? I go all of 4, all of 5, all of 6, all of 7, all of 8. It'll be 9 o'clock. It's just how I have to do it. I legit have to do it that way. I agree every day with a kid at work who counts the initial hour and it drives me crazy. That's why I just do all of this. So I know I have to go get through all of this hour. It's just the way life works, fam. Oh man, I'm hungry. I also haven't eaten in a while. I should go and cook. Maybe get myself a little pizza. Let me just go put some pizza in the... I also bought a suit for the very first time for this thing that I'm going to this weekend. Or next week. I bought a suit for it, for like one of the event things that they have. So Jovan will be in a suit for like the first time since like, since like I went to senior prom. I haven't worn a suit since like prom. I bought a very nice suit for myself. I've never had a suit before. Be right back and then I'll take the next call. I'm talking to my mother, if you guys can hear me talking. Gotta get more water up here. Did you wait for me? Wait for me. William said, tell your mom you love her. She knows. All right, we ready to take our next call? All right, coming up to stream is Fuzzy, not the mod, a different Fuzzy. Calling from Israel to talk about topic number 6, abolition of police and prisons. Fuzzy, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
Fuzzy, they, them.
And your age?
Oh, 22, sorry.
Okay, cool.
Never.
Okay, and Fuzzy, you were calling about topic number 6, the abolition of police and prisons.
Yeah.
Did you disagree with the stance?
No, not entirely. I just have a couple questions regarding it.
Okay, what are your questions?
So I heard in a previous show you mentioned that you believe in restorative justice instead of retributive. I'm not good at pronouncing words.
Yeah, I
so-
believe in restorative and rehabilitative justice, yes.
Yeah. So you said once someone has been psychologically evaluated to no longer be a danger to themselves or society, they can be reintroduced into society. My question is, what if someone commits like one of those motivated murders, like I don't know, get someone who cheated on your wife, and then you can be evaluated that you will never commit murder again or something? What would happen to that person? Would it just be introduced immediately into society?
Yeah, it would be a process. It's not like we're just gonna be like bada bing, bada boom, oh, you're ready to go, right? Like there is a process of rehabilitation. But like you probably wouldn't spend a lot of time in facilitated care. Typically there would be some other way of like repayment to society for what you did.
Yeah, that's the payment is what's like holding me back, because it seems odd to me, because then it would basically make it so the murder is kind of legal. Like what like
Well,
what
it's not
happens
you. Like I
then?
said, there would still be a repayment to society. So like it would just depend on what like we decide like collectively. The only thing is punishment doesn't accomplish anything. So the reason why we're not in favor of like punishment as the repayment is because it doesn't solve anything, right? Punishment
Yeah,
in response to a crime does essentially nothing. So we would be looking at
yeah,
some other method of repayment. And now that method of repayment can still be keeping you essentially out of society in some way, shape, or form. It's just there would be a an underlying method of care placed on this. So like an example of this is like, well, let's say like we do need to take you out of society for whatever reason because of what you did. We might be looking at, okay, the way we do that is you're in like a long-term care facility where
yeah.
you're still receiving like human dignity, but um you're still separated from society for the length of time that is deemed appropriate for the crime.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like a punishment, but it would be more of like an exile to like make sure, while you make sure you're safe,
Yeah.
and then the payment will be decided like community service or whatever.
Yeah, and I typically, when it comes to whether you can be reintroduced to society, I very much would need the victims of the crime to be a determining factor of this. So whether that's immediate family members or the person that was victimized, like I would say like they have a say. Like their opinion would
Yeah.
hold a lot of weight in terms of whether or not you are um essentially allowed to stay within the framework of the society. So they might
Mm,
not have like a voting say, but like whatever board that we entrust to make these decisions, they would
sort of like a
very
jury thing
heavily.
that like serves them.
Yeah, they would just have a very big say
Yeah,
on that. Yeah.
makes sense. Just like the concept of just like someone whose entire family like they just like goes like, yeah, kind of deserved what's coming to them, and then it's just like a lighter like punishment or payment. It's kind of funny to me, but like it makes sense
Yeah.
ultimately. Like there's no need to punish someone or make them pay for something everyone thinks was just.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, just what rubs me the wrong way is just I guess that uh, like there's way less deterrent. I know that like punishment is not a deterrent like to crimes like practically at all. It doesn't affect statistics from what I've heard. But like it does at least some respect. No.
Well, the way we should be deterring crime is by making it so that the socioeconomic conditions that lead to most crimes don't exist.
Yeah, I'm specifically talking about not like poverty crimes or stuff like that. More like what about like passion crimes? The idea I have in my head, like
There's no
specifically, that
effective way to deter crimes of passion. There's
yeah,
just
that
not. There's just not. Like you could maybe get some sort of say when it's like, okay, maybe we can deter it by like, I don't know, proper mental health counseling when you're young so that you can handle anger better. But that would be
yeah, that's a
the
good
only way
idea.
to do that.
Yeah.
Like I do believe that like every child who's in grade school should meet with a therapist 2 times a week, like mandatory.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
but yeah,
should be everyone.
that might be the only say so there.
Yeah, the idea is like the scenario I have in my head is like someone like says cheats on you or something, like then you go kill the person who your partner cheated with. Like that's the scenario I've made, and everyone in the family is like, yeah, fuck, I kind of deserve it. Just like, w- wouldn't. Okay, never mind. I have an idea now. We're getting into stupid territory.
Well, Fuzzy,
Uh,
before we leave today, I was just wondering a question for you. Free
yeah.
Palestine, right?
Oh, fucking absolutely. But I have a question
Hey,
about soup.
W. Yeah, no problem. What's the question?
Uh, you never had soup, but you had the discussion with the argument with Forrest about it.
I've had soup. I don't like soup because it's hot, liquid.
Okay. What's your definition of soup? How do you know
Hot
you've had soup?
liquid. Like I've had like
So tea is
tomato soup
soup.
in the past and I've had like
Is
chicken
tea
noodle
soup?
soup. I just don't like any hot liquids.
Is tea soup?
Is what? Pea soup?
Tea.
Tea? Is tea soup? Some
Yes,
tea
more
might be
liquid.
some tea you pour it in a bowl. I would say it's soup.
So if you went to a restaurant and said and ordered the soup of the day, which you'll never do, and they brought you tea,
What is
you'll
a
never.
broth if not just a type of tea? It's water that you flavor by putting something in it. Honestly,
No, I would agree that a tea is broth.
tea is
I
soup. Tea
wouldn't
is
agree
definitely
that it's
soup now.
soup. Not all broths are soups.
Sure,
What?
but no. But what I'm saying is a lot of soups have a broth, like a broth base. Like a chicken noodle soup has a broth base. And what is a broth if not tea? Tea is a broth, essentially.
No, tea
Soup is
is a
definitely
broth.
tea.
I would
Or tea is
100%.
definitely soup. I would say tea is definitely soup.
No, I think tea would have to be based on plants and leaves to make the like flavor.
I mean, I'm now in the full camp of tea as a soup.
So if you went to a restaurant and you got soup of the day and they just brought you a cup of tea, you'll be like, nice, good soup.
Yeah, the soup. They technically brought you soup.
Yeah.
You put tea in a bowl, and it's soup.
I've had this discussion with my transphobic mother over dinner, and I basically got her to concede that soup is a social construct and it relates to your schema on what soup is.
What is soup if not a liquid-based food in which you extract flavors from different ingredients suspended in some type of hot water? That's like a base level what soup is.
Wait, gazpacho. Gazpacho is not in hot water.
You're like giving an outlier here. Yes, there are other types of soup, but I'm saying your typical soup, this is what is typical of soup.
Oh, so what's the necessary conditions for soup then?
Soup is a cluster category. It only has sufficient conditions.
So
Gang.
So what would you say is seawater? Is seawater soup?
The ocean is one large soup, yes.
Drink up, buddy. I don't know. I think
No, it's
you
an
have
inedible
a very
soup.
bad-
Oh, it's an inedible soup, but it is one large soup.
I would agree that soup doesn't have to be edible. I think it needs to come with the intent to be edible. I think that should be part of your cluster categorization. Like it's
I don't think
served
soup
with
needs
the
intent.
that of consumption.
I don't
I think
think
just
soup needs
to be
content.
served.
If I was just throwing shit together for fun and it made a soup out of randomly, I still made a soup, even if my intent wasn't to make a soup.
I disagree. I disagree. I think intent matters a lot.
So you're saying if I took chicken, noodles, and broth, and I accidentally knocked all of those off a counter with my elbow while I was cleaning, and they all fell on a pot that was sitting on a hot stove, and so they cooked into a chicken noodle soup, I didn't just make a soup?
No, that wouldn't be soup. You made
You're
a
saying
mess.
that's a
You
soup.
made a delicious mess.
That's a soup. Fuzzy, you're banned 100 years.
No,
You're banned for
I'm not
100
Fuzzy
years.
Logic, by the way. Fuzzy Logic, you rock. Sorry for taking your name.
Anyway, thanks for calling, friend.
I've used this name for a long time. Bye bye.
That was funny. You know, somebody once asked me, they were like, hey, Jovan, why do you eat on stream so much? And I want to answer that question for you guys right now. It's because if I eat the food on stream, I get to write off buying it. That's why most streamers are going to eat while they're on stream, by the way. If they reach a certain level of tax things, I eat on stream because then I can write off what I'm eating. So I'm finna be eating on, it's a business expense. I'm working. It's essentially a working lunch. (219-327-8005) if you want to debate, call in. That's not genius. It's just basic tax stuff. Bro, I need as many deductibles as I can get, fam. We doing tax fraud? It's quite literally not tax fraud. There's no fucking shot Euro just tried to join our fucking Discord server. There's no fucking shot. He's not going to get in because he's not a paid member. Bro, he wants to be my friend so bad, and it's not gonna happen. This is why video game reviews pay for themselves. This is why almost every video game I buy, I'm gonna play on stream this year. Because then I can write it off. We got a call screening right now. Yo! I think I watched like one of the greatest animes of my life this week. And it low-key might be fighting Anohana for my #1 spot on anime. It was so fucking good. It blew my mind how good this show was for me. So if you have the chance, it's on Crunchyroll and it's on Hulu. Go watch Sunny Boy. If you have not watched Sunny Boy, you are fucking missing out on what low-key might be my new favorite anime. You're not gonna understand shit. I'm rewatching it already, and I still don't understand half of it, but it's so fucking good. It's unbelievably good. It is fucking crazy. No, Sunny Boy is its own 12. It's a fully contained 12-episode original anime. Yo, Vaughn, we got a raid from Vaughn. What's up, Vaughn? Yo, let's get a shout out for Vaughn. Yo, if y'all ever want, I don't know if Vaughn's commissions are still open. Vaughn is one of the fucking sickest voices. Okay, so if you ever want like smutty audio read, Vaughn used to do. I don't know if you do commissions on it. That's still Vaughn. But yo, you want to get it done by Vaughn, deadass. Yo, Vaughn is a real chill guy. We met when I went to TwitchCon almost 2 years ago. I fucked with Vaughn heavy. He was a really chill dude. What is this call being screened and why is it taking so long? Do y'all want to hear the bangingest track? Do you want to hear the bangingest track from Sunny Boy? I might have to mute this on the stream replay, but I'm gonna play this song for you guys. I need you to hear how much of a banger this shit is, dude. When I heard this shit in the episode that was on in the show, I was like floored. Our full VODs no longer including tier 3 members perks on YouTube. All full VODs are on their own. I took them off of tier membership. So all full VODs are on my VOD channel. Jovan Bradley VODs, I think is what it's called. I have a separate VOD channel on YouTube that just has all the VODs. They go up like a day after. Listen to this track. This shit is so fucking good, dude. Yeah, I should have taken Jovad's, but whatever. I like how it starts like because I was listening to it earlier. Y'all gotta watch Sunny Boy. You have to watch Sunny Boy. I need people to talk to about this anime, dude. This is Toei. Toei is the name of just look up Toei and look up Rhapsody. And that's this song specifically. I need to talk to someone about Sunny Boy. What is it about? That's a hard fucking question because I don't know. I'm not even joking with you. I watched the whole show. It was some of the most locked in I've been watching a show. And I genuinely don't know what it's about. The premise of episode 1. Let me give you the premise of episode 1. I'm going to keep listening to this song while I give you the premise. Episode 1. Okay. Episode 1 sees a bunch of kids from middle school. I think they're all in middle school. Who are about to go into high school. their school subs anymore. So I watched the dub and it was fucking great. All right, I'm gonna turn that song off because I don't want to get copyright strike. Forrest, what the fuck message was? Forrest just texted me something. What the fuck? What the fuck did Forrest Valkyrie just text me just now? Am I alone in liking Seven Deadly Sins? First season of Seven Deadly Sins bangs, save for all the pedo shit. But like, then it just becomes one of the worst fucking anime I've ever seen in my life. I'm pretty sure Forrest just texted me lyrics to Iceman by Drake. What the fuck? Seven Deadly Sins is so, that scene where he's holding Elizabeth as a baby and he's like, don't touch my woman. And I'm like, even with context, that's not okay. I guess we're not getting much callers today. Yo, if I do a Sunny Boy watch party in Discord tonight, who's coming? We could definitely get through like 6 episodes if we watch it in like a 2 hours stint. Yo, did we also get a raid by RTP? What up, RT? Damn, we got a bunch of raids today. I wish I had more debates for you guys right now, but like MAGA and conservatives are running with their tails between their legs. Maybe if YouTube would like the live. What up, RTP raid? Yo, RTP, if you're watching, I should have you on sometime next week, RTP. We haven't debated together in a while. What's up, RTP raid? We're just talking anime. Any thoughts on Candace Owens chatting with Hunter Biden? No. I mean, Candace is running basically a course correction to try to make herself look good, but fuck her, she still helped Trump get elected. I don't give a fuck about her. Could it be an interesting watch? I don't know. I don't give a fuck about Hunter Biden either. You know what I mean? RTP just crushed a watermelon between his thighs? Why? Favorite one-off anime? Right now, it's Sunny Boy. Genuinely, right now, it's Sunny Boy. We are Jimmy Snow. We carry the flame. Wait, I got you, chat. I got you, chat.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel.
Anyway. John, I'm conflicting. On the one hand, I'm over the middle schoolers and high school genre of anime. On the other hand, Toei is one of my favorite bands out, so I'm considering watching. I think there's a lot of good stories you can tell at that age. right? Because that age is like. Also, Sunny Boy, completely zero fan service. Zero. Not a single bit of fan service anywhere in that show. There could be some cases for some things being kind of weird, but like no fan service at all. There's literally not a single time where there are big boobies bouncing in your face at any point. And the director and writer of Sunny Boy is the guy who directed the very first season of One Punch Man, the good one. If that doesn't make you want to watch the show, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, Mob Psycho is great. I think there is a place for fan service in anime, just like there's a place for boobies, like in media. I don't think there's a problem with boobies or butts. I think there should be more male fan service animes, actually. But the ones that are fan servicey for women typically are the ones that where the two lead protagonists are absolutely in love with each other and are gay as fuck. But I don't think animes have enough dangling peepees. That's one of the issues. I love My Dress Up Darling so much, but also I'm like, these kids are like 15. So I kind of wish they didn't. It wasn't as hyperly. It's such a great love letter to cosplay that I wish it wasn't as sexual as it is. And I get there's just a cultural difference here, but I'm just like, ugh. But the character work in that show is so fucking good. Or how I really like, or wanna like, or have liked, watched, read Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei is so hard to justify. It is so hard to justify watching Mushoku Tensei. It is. And at first, bro, I was really liking Mushoku Tensei, and then the main character it literally turns into a harem. It turns into a harem self-insert, and that's why I'm like, fuck this. I was so excited because at the start of it didn't seem like it was just gonna be a Rudy is the worst. I hate his weak ass. Rudy is he gets so much better. This is the problem. Rudy gets so much better in the later things. And then there's the fucking turnover where he marries, spoiler alert, I don't give a fuck. He marries his like 5,000-year-old teacher who knew him when he was like 3. And now I'm like, fucking hate this show. And so I haven't read it. I stopped reading at that point. When he marries his childhood best friend, I'm like, okay. I get he has the mind of like a 40-year-old, but this one I'll suffer through, whatever. Then he fucked his like 4th cousin. She was like 15, he was like 13. And then he gets erectile dysfunction because he like had his heart broken. Stupid as fuck. But and I watched through that, and it wasn't until we got to the point where Rudy marries his fucking 100 or however old his teacher is. And I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. I was like, you've completely burned all the goodwill that I saved up because of how good your writing is, how great your animation is, how much I like the characters. You burned all of that. Oh yeah, Jobless Reincarnation is the English title. That's why I'm like, if you want, we already have the perfect isekai. The perfect isekai exists. And it's ReZero. ReZero is the perfect isekai. There is no isekai better than ReZero. Just doesn't exist. No, the guy in ReZero is not even close. You're saying Subaru is as bad as Rudy? Not even close. Subaru is one of the best anime protagonists of all time. Where do you get that Subaru is even closely as bad as Rudy? Subaru is absolutely bad in a lot of places in the manga, but that's because he's learning and growing as a human being. Subaru, that's the whole point of his arc when he goes through wanting to be Emilia's knight, and he gets his shit kicked out of him, you know that, and he grows and he gets better, and he is a better person going into season 3, and then he grows from that, and he's a much better person in season 4, and he's grown from that, and now I'm season 4. I think we're going into season 4, and now I can't wait until this new season is fully done so I can watch it all. To act like Subaru has not gone through it and been redeemed is crazy. I'll fucking call in with these no, I'm just kidding. I'll die on this hot take. Subaru is one of the best anime pro tags. Because Subaru didn't listen. I love a good shonen, okay? I love a good shonen. I love My Hero. I got a Deku statue back there. Deku starts out as a good character, right? Deku starts out as somebody who's caring, who's kind, who wants to save everyone. That's his whole thing. And his arc is just learning how to do that without sort of learning how like to sacrifice oneself. Great. Subaru doesn't start like that. He's a shut-in. He's mostly selfish. Granted, it's from trauma, but he's a shut-in. He's selfish. He's all these other things. To act like Subaru in the most recent, I think it's season 3, is even remotely similar to Subaru in season 1. They're not even close. They aren't even in the same league as being the same. He is drastically different. Drastically. Subaru might be one of the most well-written anime protagonists of all time. Wait, I'm sorry, did we watch with them helping the water city? Are we just ignoring that this character? I don't care. Spoilers if you haven't watched the most recent seasons of fucking ReZero. Subaru went from relying solely on Return by Death and not really caring about the people he leaves behind or all that, to like focusing on his own strength and finding a way through his own strength to help the people he loves without relying on this like dark path. Like, what? Anybody in the chat right now is telling me Subaru is a terrible character. Get the I don't know what you're smoking. Genuinely, I don't know what you're on. Everybody who's like, literally nobody has offered up a rebuttal, by the way. They just keep going, Subaru's annoying. Subaru's annoying. That's not a fucking rebuttal. That's what media literacy is dead, bro. Emotionally, Subaru is a good character, but I'm more of the emo, overpowered type of anime guy. Oh no, I hate that. That's why I'm not a really big fan of what's that Korean anime everybody liked recently? Where the guy's always saying arise. Subaru repeats the same basic thought over and over again. You've not watched the show. Solo Leveling. Yeah, I don't like solo leveling. You've not watched the show if you think that. Genuinely, or you've only watched season 1. No, Solo Leveling. I'm not a big fan of Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling, I don't like power fantasy. Power fantasy animes bore me. Part of why like Dragon Ball has bored me for so long. Who has the biggest power level? I don't care. I want to watch my main character solve a problem creatively. The main character of Solo Leveling has never done that once. The one time in Solo Leveling that the main character started to have an issue, he got Deus Ex Machina'd out of it. And they said, oh, you didn't do your training today, so now you're gonna magically be teleported at the last second to an area where you can level up so that you can beat these characters that are beating you. That's boring. Like, there's nothing there. Sword Art Online starts out okay, then it gets really stupid. Kaiju number 8 is goated. Kaiju number 8 is fucking so good. Kaiju number 8 is so fucking great, bro. I'm just waiting for calls. What? This is why I wish I was on the. This is why I wish I was on the ratioed episode about anime. Yeah, I just don't think the main character in Solo Leveling, whose name I can't even remember, I don't think he does. I don't think he's a good character. He's boring. He's just literally boring. Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo are both great. No, Sung Jin-woo did not plan that shit in the anime. He just ran, because he's confused. When he ends up going to the thing, he's like, oh shit, I forgot to do my training today. He didn't plan that shit. That's a Deus Ex Machina. All right, let's take this call. My mouth is almost getting to the point where I can't fucking stand it. So thank God it's almost going to be 5 o'clock and I can take more meds. All right, coming up to stream is Alexander calling from Alabama, specifically to talk about slavery in the Bible, which is not a topic, but I'll talk about it today, whatever. Alexander, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
30, he and him.
All right, now Alexander, are you contesting that slavery is in the Bible? What are we talking about?
So I guess I just kind of wanted to, I guess I'll give my spew and you can give me what you think about it. That's kind of, I just wanted to know your stance. Okay, my thing is this. If Jesus freed the slaves, and it says so in the Bible, did
Which
not
slaves?
owning
I'm sorry,
slaves,
wait. Which slaves did Jesus free?
The slaves that were the slaves at that time, I presume.
Jesus didn't
But-
free any slaves. There's literally nothing in the New Testament that points to Jesus freeing any slaves.
Was it Moses that freed the slaves?
Moses freed the Israeli slaves. Yes, the like Hebrew slaves of. Yeah, Jesus didn't free any slaves. Moses freed the slaves, but specifically, he only freed the Hebrew slaves from Egypt.
I'm sorry, I always see paintings with Jesus holding the staff and everything. I don't know.
No, that was
got
Moses.
Confusing. All right, well, I guess Moses still holds weight, doesn't he? Like,
But Moses didn't free all the
reputation-wise,
slaves.
or-
He only freed Hebrew slaves. There were still a bunch of other slaves around at the time.
What?
And then Moses gave the rules for the Israelites
Did
that
they
they
know
could.
about them?
Yes.
Oh,
And then Moses turns around and gets the commandment from God in Leviticus that the Israelites can own slaves if they want to. So
whoa.
Leviticus, I think it's Leviticus
Yeah.
25, 44 to 46. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also pass them down to your
But
children to be
well,
inherited property for life.
and you said God told Moses. Moses said God told him that.
Yeah, this would have been a law given to Moses by God on Mount Sinai when God was giving Moses the rules to create
What?
Israel society. Yeah. Yeah, it's in the
How
book.
do people reconcile that? How
By just pretending it didn't happen.
But I've been seeing signs from God and stuff, and I've been gaining more and more faith. That's what,
Well, just so you know, if you're Christian, your God says it's okay to own slaves. Just, you know, so you're aware.
what if it? Well, I don't want to kind of try and sugarcoat it, but what if it's kind of like you guys want to be stupid, learn the hard way thing?
What do you
I
mean?
mean, like, if we don't have the common sense to know not to own people, hell, I'll give you some damn rules. You go ahead and be stupid, but you'll learn in the long run not to
Well,
do
but
it.
you have to remember that when the
I mean, it's
Israelite
called tough
people
love, isn't
ended
it?
up in Jerusalem, right? That's where they went. They went to the Holy Land, Jerusalem. They didn't have any slaves because they had all just been freed from slavery. God is telling them that they can now, that they, in this society with no slaves, hey, you guys can own slaves if you want. God could have just been like, don't take slaves, but he didn't.
What if it was a test to see if they were going to choose good or evil? And man, yet again, chose evil.
Well, it's not really a test if you're like, you can do this, right? If I was like to you, if I put
It
two
kind of is
cookies,
because you can still. He says you can. He doesn't say you have to.
no, he just says it's morally permissible. You will not be punished if you
He
own a slave.
actually.
So if you tell
Okay,
someone they won't be
well,
punished if
I
they do
mean,
something and then you punish them when they do that, that's not a test. That's manipulation. Now, if you want to say God manipulates people, I'd probably agree, but
logic's a pain in the ass.
yeah, that's why I'm not Christian, because logically the book don't make sense.
Mm. Could
If the
it be
book logically
possible
makes
my life
sense.
is getting better based on false hope?
Yes, false hope can absolutely make your life better. I just prefer real hope, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any issue. Like I was an atheist for a long time. The whole people dying, I've gotten over that ages ago. But I don't know. I guess I'll just give it some more thought. Thanks for talking about it, though.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right, have a good one. Great show. Bye.
You too. Okay. Spencer, thank you for the Venmo. Said Digimon is actually the perfect isekai. I'll be taking no arguments otherwise. Digimon's good. It's got flaws, but it's not like Digimon's not bad. It's not a perfect isekai. Cassidy, thank you for the Venmo for talking to these dummies. I try. Elira the Free, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships over on YouTube. All those people can now join our Discord for our book club. Hey, I kind of want to change the book club book. I kind of want to change the book club book to Promises book, and then ask Promise to come to book club. I think that'd be kind of cool. But you guys would actually have to buy the book because, like, we want to support authors that we know, especially. Digimon Adventure 2 is the best Digi series. No, it would be Digimon Tamers, the 3rd season. 3rd season of Digimon is the infinite best Digimon has ever been. Have you read Dungeon Crawler Carl? No. What do you think of Promise Neverland? Manga's pretty good, 7 out of 10. Anime's dog shit, 1 out of 10. Slime is great. A lot of fan service in Slime, but I still love Slime. It's just fun. Ascendance of a Bookworm has some of the best world building of any anime I've ever seen. I just wish there was more. Made in Abyss. I've only watched it once, and I remember liking it, but I can't remember anything that happened in it. Campfire cooking is so goated. Campfire cooking is so great. Do you fuck with Chainsaw Man? I just restarted watching it because I like never got through the first season. Do you like comics too? Yeah, I just don't have time to read them like I used to. I've read every single issue of Spider-Man. Well, up to a certain point, and then I fell off. But up until issue 700, I had read every single issue of Spider-Man. Yo, I actually just bought a new Godzilla poster for my TV room. Poster, it's like a print. I genuinely barely remember what happened in the OG FMA because I've only watched Brotherhood since Brotherhood came out. Do you have a P.O. box? No, I need to make one. Favorite Godzilla kaiju, specifically Shin Godzilla. Fucking love Shin Godzilla so much. Do you have anything graded in your collection? No, all my comics are digital. I moved away from physical media, basically. I just don't have the fucking time to dedicate to physical media. All right, let me pop some ibuprofen, then we'll keep going. Hey, let me just also tell you guys, the reason why we don't debate in chat on YouTube, there's a reason for it. It's because if you're debating the chuds in YouTube chat, they're not going to call in because you're giving them what they want, which is the attention in the debate on YouTube chat. That's why I say don't debate. It's pretty simple. Anyway. Shaku, thank you for the gifted memberships over on YouTube. Let's take our next call. All right, coming up to stream is Rich from Philadelphia. Rich is calling to talk about trans men and women being men and women. Rich, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
35. Is it he, him?
I wouldn't know. Only you would know that.
I don't use, like, that's why I'm asking. I'm pretty much calling to, like, get a better understanding on it. So that's why I don't really know if it's he, him, or if you can educate me more so on the topic.
Yeah. When people refer to you in the third person, do they call you he or do they call you him?
He.
Yeah, then yeah. Your pronouns are
yes,
he, him.
Yes, okay, yes. So this is, like, I'm sorry, go ahead. You have a question or you want me to just ramble?
No. I would just be like, so you're calling about topic number 1. I believe trans men and women are men and women. Do you disagree? And if you disagree, why?
It's I may disagree for the simple fact that I also may be so uneducated into the topic, whereas what I'm so like, it's so rudimentary. My understanding is that if a person has a penis, they're a man, and if a woman has a vagina, they're a woman. Like, that's as far as my knowledge goes on the topic. So I don't want to be disrespectful to the trans community.
All right, let me ask you a question. If I cut my dick off, am I still a man?
If you make it that simple, yes, you definitely still are a man.
Yeah,
that's true.
Then genitalia doesn't make your gender.
It boils down just to being that simple.
Yes.
So why is this such a issue in the world right now? Why do people get so angry about this stuff?
Do you want the real answer? Most people are attracted to trans people, and it makes them think they're gay.
Meaning, is it most people or most men?
Most people. Most men are attracted to trans women. Most women are attracted to trans men, and they feel gay because of it. That's like one of like 3 main predominant reasons.
So they can't handle the fact that they see a man that is, I guess, cute or handsome, so they get angry about it.
No, they can't handle the fact that that when they look at a trans woman, they keep equating that woman is a man, and that makes them feel gay, even though that woman is a woman and not a man. So they have no reason to feel gay.
Do you think that most men are probably just gay and they can't handle it?
I think most people sit on a spectrum of sexuality. I think it's not as simple as like gay, straight. I just think we live in such a heteronormative culture that people believe that's the case. I think for most people, sexuality is a spectrum.
interesting. Because, I mean, I've never been, you could, like, you just see in the political climate that we in, like, literally this past election, they won on stupid ads that they ran about Kamala being about woke, quote unquote woke, and for the trans community. And she practically lost just for that simple ad that they ran the whole damn election.
I mean, I don't think Kamala lost because of her siding with the trans community. I think she lost because she tried to get the. No, I think she predominantly lost because she tried to lean for the right-leaning vote more than the independent vote. So her campaign leaned more, like, I mean, that's why she brought up fucking what's her name?
The freaking the father was the evil man.
Yeah.
Cheney.
Yeah, Liz Cheney. Kamala Harris 100% tried her campaign. I don't even know if I would say her specifically, but the way they ran their campaign was instead of going after the independent vote, they went after the right-leaning vote. And that's not the way to run a campaign when you're going up against a cult. You don't try to get the cult, you don't try to get the people from the cult to join you. You try to get the people who've yet to go to the cult.
Yes, I 100% agree. I mean, I live in Philadelphia. We just elected Chris Rabb, and he literally screamed "fuck ABAC."
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's just like we live in a society where people are so hateful, and like I see all over the place where people just are so disrespectful to just trans people. Like, they just want rights. They just want to be people. You don't gotta be up their ass and stuff. But then, like, it goes as I'm 35, so I'm not that old, but like I call and I'm simply like, wait, if I have a penis, I'm a man. If you have a vagina, you're a woman. Like, but why are we so worried about what people have?
Well, but again, as we've discussed, it's not that simple.
Exactly.
Because if you don't have it, that wouldn't make you not that thing. Yeah.
You broke it down to me, so it's just like, I love your content. I just want to get on the stream, just talk to you, just to get a better understanding. And you made it so damn simple. I didn't even need a call.
All right. Cool.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yep. You too. Okay. We're definitely going to have a Sunny Boy watch party in the Discord tonight. Fuck, what time? 7? None of my gifted memberships may be used for Euro travel or Jimmy. Well, they can never be used on Jimmy. Rest in peace. Gone but not forgotten. We are Jimmy Snow. This shit's so funny to me. Can't wait for this fucking mount shit to kick in. Forgotten but not gone is crazy. Elira, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. But yeah, I definitely think most people's sexuality is probably fluid. Like, I know for me, myself personally, I just don't like penis. Like, a penis does nothing for me. I like not even a wiggle down there. So I just avoid penises. So as long as there's no penis, I'm usually pretty good. But does that mean that I wouldn't like be sexual with someone with a penis? Maybe. But I would feel like an inconsiderate partner because I wouldn't want to do anything with the penis because it does nothing for me. And I actually think having a genital preference is A-okay. That's why when people are like, is it transphobic of me to not date trans people? I'm always like, well, what's the reason? If you have a genital preference, no, it's not transphobic to say I have a genital preference. If the person has the genitals you like and you're still like, oh no, they're trans, then yes, that makes you transphobic. Billy Sipes with the Venmo. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy was run off the road. Sadly, I live in Texas too, and the people here drive like maniacs. I hope he's okay. He'll tell the story, but essentially that's what happened, yeah. That's operating under the assumption that they want you too, Jovan. I just assume everybody wants me, and I live my life that way. Kona is like, I'm transphobic and homophobic, and that's okay. Yeah, you're just a dick. Like, okay, be a dick. I've never met somebody that was proud to be a dick. Showing app isn't showing. Oh, Instagram, you're not going to see comments on Instagram coming up in the little thing. But I've been live on Instagram for this long as I've been live everywhere else, like 2 hours. Like, that's my whole thing is like, you're just being a dick. Like, okay, be a dick. Sebastian, thank you for the Venmo. If I have carriage preferences and don't like cabooses, does that make me transphobic? That was fucking crazy to read. You like South Park? Yeah, depending on the episode and the season. Damn, calls today have been light as fuck, bro. I might call it here soon. I would like to rest my mouth a little bit. Leftist versus liberal, who will win? In like a steel cage? I don't fucking know. My leg. What that mouth do, Jovan? Be in pain. Ooh, maybe I'll make that a topic tomorrow. America first is a stupid position. Someone like Kona, it's useless to debate. You could provide him with as much information as you want, and he's not going to change his position. He's locked in. It doesn't matter what you tell him. It doesn't matter how many sources you give him. People like that who are too stupid to know they're stupid are really tough to debate. What does MAGA mean? Make America Great Again. Oh, Alira. Have I been pronouncing your name wrong this whole time? Alira the Free? Is that how it's pronounced? Alira? God, I'm going to forget that. I'll try not to forget, but walk. Well, Billy, you could just wait till the next group discussion on Discord. Alira, 50 gifted memberships? Jesus Christ. Fam. That's a lot. That's too much. I mean, thank you, but jeez. Save stuff like that for Fridays when we're gonna start raising money for mutual aid fund streams and whatnot. The mutual aid fund and like other charities. I'm gonna try to do a charity stream one Friday a month. But also, thank you. Jeez. Hopefully the membership doesn't go to like a conservative hate watcher. Oh shit, Jimmy just sent me the video of his fucking accident. Hold on. We're waiting for one call to be screened. Mm-hmm. Low-key, my mouth really hurts. Oh, yeah, I probably should get an ice pack. What's the argument for no free will in heaven? Because there's no suffering in heaven and you cannot commit a sin in heaven. Therefore, there are actions that you physically can't do. So therefore, free will cannot exist. What? Why are these screening calls taking so long? Sounds like Jimmy finally crashed out is crazy. No one has been getting calls lately. I had tons of calls last week. It's just this week's been a little slower than normal. I'm going to probably do a topic switch up later this week. All right, we got another call. This is definitely going to be the last call. My mouth just still really fucking hurts. So this is going to be the last call. And then I'm going to chill. Coming up to stream is Paul. Paul from Pennsylvania calling to talk about topic number 3, systemic racism and white privilege. Paul, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
My age is 48, and typically when someone asks me my pronouns, which doesn't happen too often, but when they do, I usually say like the Almighty or the Ancient of Days, because I think it's such a silly question. It deserves a silly response. So I think you can pretty much understand, and so can everybody else, that I'm a guy. And so I think that sounds silly to 80% of people. That is a really foolish question. But anyway.
It's Paul. I'm just going to ask the question again. What are your pronouns?
Ancient of Days.
What are your English pronouns, please?
Is that not an English word? Ancient.
That is that is not a pronoun in the English language. Do you go by actual pronouns in the English language? Also not a pronoun. That would be a title. That would be a title, not a pronoun.
Okay. Well, what would God call himself then? Well, or herself, whatever.
God would probably not refer to themselves using a pronoun because God probably doesn't speak English.
Well, but what would God say if God were speaking to you? He would speak to you in English. God knows English, and if God
would probably say their pronouns are they them. God doesn't have a gender, so God would probably go by they them because God has no gender.
Well, I would like to be able to proceed anyway, so you can call me he him.
There we go. Minute and a half of my life I'm never getting back. Paul, you're calling to talk about systemic racism. I believe systemic racism and white privilege are real. Do you disagree? And if so, why?
Well, it's not so much an issue of agreeing or disagreeing. It's a matter of a spectrum of how bad a problem is it. It doesn't mean that you can't find instances where it's an issue still. It just means that I believe that on a scale of 1 to 10, it's not a big issue in the white culture. I do, however, believe it's a huge issue in the black culture, and I would have never believed that until I moved from the country into the city, and then I started realizing what racism really is and where it's really coming from, because the white culture, for the most part, has defeated racism on the whole. Doesn't mean there aren't some white racists. It just means they're few and far between, and for the most part, we just don't give a shit.
This is potentially the dumbest position I've heard in a long time.
Oh, okay. Well, it wouldn't be so dumb if you were to admit the truth and see that actually racism is taught to black people.
It wouldn't be dumb if you just admitted the truth. So all you're doing is just presupposing. I don't do presuppositions.
No, No, I believe that if
Paul,
you
what is
actually
systemic
look at it,
racism?
you can see.
What is
Let me.
systemic racism?
Systemic means the system has worked racism into itself so much so that you are at a distinct disadvantage to me simply because you're black. That's how I understand
Do
it.
black people
How
face
would you?
disproportionate outcomes in the systems that shape this country?
Yeah, that's
Do you believe black people
okay.
are at fault for these disproportionate outcomes?
Yes, I do believe that they are at fault for it largely because since racism on the whole has been defeated in the white culture, then yes,
Great. That's
at
just
some
more
point, black
presuppositions. I
people,
don't care about the
black people,
presuppositions.
then at
Have
some
you heard of
point,
the
black
Veil of
people are
Darkness study,
responsible.
Paul? Yes or no?
In particular,
Paul, you're not here to
black
preach,
men
Paul.
are responsible.
You're not here to preach. If you're going to preach, I'm just going to move on. Have you heard of the Veil of
We're
Darkness
having
study?
trying to have a discussion. And I'm
You're
trying
not
to
having a
explain to you
discussion.
my position.
You're soapboxing. You're not having a discussion. A discussion is a back and forth. Soapboxing is not a back and forth. I will ask you questions. You will answer them, and we will see if your position logically holds. Now, your position currently is that black people are at fault for the racism or for the disproportionate outcomes they experience in the system. So I'm asking you, have you heard of the Veil of
Yes.
Darkness study? Yes or no?
No.
Great. Stanford did a study where they analyzed 95 million traffic stops in the United States throughout multiple different states and municipalities. And they found that during the day, black people are pulled over at a significantly higher rate than white people. And at night, when cops can no longer see the color of the person driving the car, the rate of pullovers even out. How do you account for this if not for systemic racism?
Well, I'd have to look at the study, I mean, I don't know of that study. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why
Okay,
studies
if it's
come
going to be the case that
answers. So,
everything that I bring up to you that would prove systemic racism, it's going to be, well, I didn't read that, so I can't talk on that.
well,
That would just go to
no,
show me you're not
I
educated
understand
enough
that.
to have the
That's not
conversation.
fair. I would say that on the onset, when I hear something like that, it does sound like that's an issue, and I don't know if that's an issue because cops have become accustomed to dealing with a lot of problems in black areas, that cops become racist as a result of having to deal with these issues, and then that becomes a problem within them. I think
So
that can and does happen.
You just described systemic
So
racism against black people. Cops have a bias. That bias is against
Yeah.
black bodies, and they use that
Mhm.
bias in their policing, thus creating disproportionate outcomes within policing and crime metrics.
Yeah. Well, I think that can happen. I'm saying that
That is
some of the
systemic
reasons
racism.
why
Paul.
that happens is important.
That's
And
systemic
some of the
racism.
reasons why that happens is important too.
Sure, let's talk about the
it's
reasons why. A lot of the reason these biases exist is because of the 80s, because of the war on crime politicking, and because of the war on drug policies. Let's look at the 80s. In the 80s, a lot of crime PSAs revolved around black people. This was a concerted effort by the Nixon administration and the Reagan administration. Both of them did that. It's been openly admitted by the administrations. This was through policies enabled by people like Lee Atwater. In the 80s, there was the crack cocaine epidemic. This created a lot of issues. The crack epidemic within black neighborhoods created a massive issue with crime and poverty, systemic poverty. Crack and cocaine are essentially the same drug, save for one ingredients and the way they are cooked. They're essentially the exact same drug. They have almost the exact same effects. It's just the way you ingest them is a little different. However, 5 grams of crack carried a minimum sentence of, I want to say it was 5 years was the minimum sentence for 5 grams of crack. Whereas in order to get the same sentence length for cocaine, you had to have 500 grams of cocaine. The only difference between the drugs, again, is the way they are prepared and one singular ingredient that doesn't really change the compound. The reason why this disparity in sentencing exists, and again, this was admitted by the FBI at the time. They admitted that this was the reason they did that, is because they found crack to exist mostly in black neighborhoods, while cocaine existed mostly in white neighborhoods. They also funneled crack into black neighborhoods to further increase this disparity. Now, this led to a system of poverty, a system of drug use, It led to families being torn apart via prison sentences, led to a bunch of things. Is this systemic racism?
I don't think you went back far enough in your analysis of the problem at all. I think I would drag it back a little further to when Black fathers started leaving their families, starting in the 60s, when you had a revolution that the government would pay for and take the place of a father, and that's exactly what happened in the Black community.
What was the rate of single? What was the rate of single motherhood in the Black community in the 60s?
You can basically, in fact, if you look statistically at it, and you look at
I'm asking you the statistic.
Raised by both parents. I know, but you talked for a long time, and I'd like to have a second to make a point.
In order to, I want to allow you to speak, but in order to do that, I need substance. So if you're claiming that the 60s
that's what I'm trying
is the start of this, I'd like to know, yes, and I'm looking for clarification. I'd like to know what was the rate of single family homes in the Black community in the 60s?
In the 50s, it was actually very similar to the white community as far as a father being involved in the house.
Well, I didn't ask about the 50s. I asked about the 60s.
When you compare those families still to this day that have a Black father involved and in the house, you find that the crime rate is the same as when compared to a white kid that is raised by a father and mother. So I
don't know why you're
back to that singular fact, and I don't know why
once again
it's too hard for the Black community to take personal responsibility for where their kids end up and whether they end up smoking crack.
Once again, it would appear
it's a lot
that
it
would appear that you're incapable of answering the question that I'm asking you directly, which is what was the rate of single motherhood in the Black community in the 60s? That's the question I asked you.
That 60s, because I would
an average amongst the entirety of the 10 years.
The rate of single motherhood?
Yeah,
I'll take a guess.
Children living in single family households in the 60s.
Yeah, I'll take a guess that it was relatively low.
What would relatively low be?
Let's say 20%.
And what is it now?
Now it's like 80%. It's flipped entirely on its head.
You think it's 80%?
Yeah, I think it's 80%. So what is it?
You'd be wrong. It's about 60% now. It was about 30% then.
That weren't that long ago that said differently, but that's not like I'm grossly in a different universe.
It was about 30% in the 60s. It was about 30% in the 50s.
So even guessing, I'm doing pretty good.
So you said, yes, but you said the 60s was when there was this massive increase, and that is incorrect. So when did the massive increase come?
That's where it started. I'm saying
no, because the 60s and the 50s had the same rate. So it didn't start in the 60s. So then are we saying it started in the 50s?
No, I'm saying that the policies of the 60s, that you can look at a line and see that it just keeps going up from the 60s.
In the 50s, the 60s, and the 40s, single parent households, Black children who lived in single parent households, was about 20% between the 40s, the 50s, and then the 60s.
Yes, and I'm saying at the 60s, I believe that's when the line starts to go up. At the 60s, through the 60s, into the 70s, into the 80s, and the line just keeps going up.
It would be the 80s. The 80s is the cross. The 80s is when there was the massive jump, the massive spike. It was in the 80s, during the war on drugs, like I said. So you told me, well, I'm not starting back far enough. Actually, I'm starting right where the massive spike begins, which is the 80s.
No, I think that if we looked at the 60s and then you took the 70s and then you took the 80s, you'd see it's a steady rise.
1940s was 20 to 35%. 1950s was 20 to 30%. 1960s was 22 to 25%, lower than the previous 2 decades. The 70s, we hit 35 to 40%. The 80s crossed 50. The 80s is the spike.
Exactly what I'm saying. Boy, you did a good job proving my point.
Is the spike. I didn't prove your point, actually.
It kept going up.
I need Paul. It didn't actually go. Paul, it went down, then it went down, then it went down, then it had a slight increase, then it had a massive increase in the 80s. As I said, the spike was in the 80s, which is what I said.
You already had 45 in the 70s, from
70s was
25 in
40.
the
70s was 35 to 40. Open your ears. It went up about
from
10% from the
25.
60s to the 70s.
So the
It went up
line,
about
the line
10%.
is like a plane. It's like a plane line. You just described a plane.
What you keep
taking
doing
off.
is you keep moving the goalpost. First it was the 60s, now it's the 70s, because you realize you were wrong about the 60s. When the actual answer,
No, I wasn't
the
wrong.
spike,
It started in the 60s.
it did
and
not
then
start in the
went
60s.
up
It started in the 70s.
and it went up.
It
and
did
it
not
kept
start in
going
the
up.
60s. It started the most you can say is it started in the 70s, but the spike was the 80s, and it wasn't because of welfare programs. It wasn't because of government subsidies. It was because of the war on drugs and fear of crime politicking that led the 80s. In fact, when we look at the causality of these things, like scholars, like actual academia, 100% doesn't even entertain the idea that it was welfare state policies. It was the disappearing of the manufacturing class, which started around that time. That started to fuck things up. It was a lot of it was fucking the war on drugs, like I said. And then there were basically shifts across all cultures where people just stopped getting married as much, and that played a role into it. But there are no causal links in academia that points it to the welfare state. This is a racist dog whistle that has been used by white supremacists for a long time because they don't want to admit to policies that the government admitted to doing, which was policies used to break up black families. You don't have to take my word for it. The government has admitted to doing all of this. And being ignorant of it is one thing, but outwardly denying it is another.
You realize that the white culture is catching up to the black culture when it comes to single motherhood, don't you?
Yes, whoopee. It's because marriage doesn't. Do you know how we wait? Do you know how the census calculates whether or not a child is living in a single family household?
No.
That's interesting.
Well, how is it? I don't understand your
They
point.
look at whether or not
you know,
the parents living in the household are married. So you can technically be living with a long-term partner and have a child, but still be considered a single mother because you're not married. So the U.S. government marks you as single for the census. Did you know the CDC did a report and found that black fathers are, of like all the races, are the most likely to be in their children's lives, whether they live in the home or not?
That what? Say that again.
That black fathers are the most likely to be involved in their children's lives, whether they live in the home or not. Black fathers were more likely than both white and Hispanic fathers to feed/eat meals with children daily, to bathe, dress, or diaper their children daily, to play with their children daily, and to help with homework frequently.
Oh, I see. That is the biggest bunch of garbage that I've ever heard.
I'm sorry. Do you have a counter study? Do you have a counter source?
Now, yes, I would like to tell you.
Paul, I only do. I don't do personal. I don't do anecdotes.
Yeah.
Anecdotes don't serve us anything in this.
Don't you? Well,
no, because for every singular anecdotal piece of evidence you can give me, I can give you 10 pieces of anecdotal evidence that disprove it.
If you're gonna, understand that. But you go ahead and go.
If you understood it, you wouldn't keep trying to give me anecdotal evidence.
I challenge you to do this. Go to a parent-teacher night in a predominantly black neighborhood and tell me about how involved
you are once again just trying to give anecdotal evidence.
Education.
You are once again just I don't know why when you I don't know why when you said
teachers, is that anecdotal?
Paul, I don't know why. Yes, that is still anecdotal.
You actually talk to teachers.
Yes, this is still anecdotal. 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 This is the definition of that's the definition of anecdotal. Yes. Asking someone their personal experience is the definition of anecdotal. I don't know why, Paul. Here's what's interesting to me. Here's what's interesting to me, Paul. Paul, I want to tell you. Paul, stop talking. Paul, stop talking. Paul, stop talking. Paul, stop talking.
And have the same parent.
I will have to mute you if you continue to talk, Paul.
half an hour
I've given you the
earlier,
chance to stop.
then it's supposed to start.
Okay, Paul, we're gonna
You
have to
don't
mute
give
you.
me
Okay. I've asked you multiple times. Right now, you're just being willfully obtuse. But I've specifically asked. I've said, please stop talking. So here's what's fun. I have given you multiple, not only academic, but real world sources that prove my point. Paul hung up because Paul can't hang, because Paul's a fucking pansy. I have given Paul multiple, not only academic sources, but like direct sources. Paul's rebuttal is no, because I don't see that happening. This is not a rebuttal. This is not a way to have a debate. If I give you academic literature on a subject, I should be receiving academic literature back. Also, fuck it. I'm opening the lines back up because my mouth is starting to feel better because the drugs are coming in. So fuck it. We're back open. So if I give you academic literature, especially peer-reviewed sources, and you do not respond with academic literature or peer-reviewed sources, then I hate to break it to you, you're a whiny little bitch. (219-327-8005) if you want to debate. Please have some fucking substance. Sonny Boy just seems like Lord of the Flies to me. No. Not even close. Maybe for like half an episode, but no. Why would you in chat openly say, I'll call in, but I have to ground myself so I don't yell at him? Just so you can come in chat to Tone Police and go, I don't think you're talking about stuff that's important to me, so therefore I think you're bad. Because that's essentially what I've read through the chat history. I don't think you're talking about the things that are important to me, so therefore you're a bad person. It's not like I don't speak about American imperialism constantly. It's not like I don't speak about the Iran conflict constantly. It's not like I don't speak about Israel-Palestine constantly. It's not like I'm not talking about those things all the time. I mean, half the new videos on my channel are me talking about imperialism. But yeah, no, it's just My bad. My bad. I don't speak about every single thing at all times. Whoopee. Whoops. Sorry. You know, you could create a channel and do it yourself, right? Literally, Palestine checked an Israeli caller earlier. Like, literally. Do you know why I don't debate Palestine? Like, why I don't have, like, the Gaza genocide on as a debate topic? Because it's not a fucking debate to me. It is quite literally just a genocide. There's nothing to debate. This is such a weird stream. A grown man in his room acting smart. Smarter than you, Rusty. I promise you that. I just, listen, there's one thing that gets my goat more than anything, and it's tone policing. Every issue is important to somebody. There's no reason to tone police creators because they're not talking about every single issue at every single time. How many of you in chat have learned a fuck ton about Cuba because I talk about Cuba a bunch? Or the history of Cuba and America's imperialism in Cuba. Like, this is my issue. People will watch like a brief moment of a creator and be like, well, in that brief moment, you weren't talking about what I wanted you to talk about. I'm also not currently talking about the disappearance of Indigenous women in Canada. Does that mean I don't care about it or I don't think it's important? No. I have a set list of topics I like to debate. They're topics that I think are important currently. And they're topics that I feel the most confident debating on. This does not mean that I don't think other things are as serious. My bigger issue is, like, imagine if somebody goes, man, it's right now is breast cancer awareness month. And you go, well, what about testicular cancer? Like, yeah, it's still a problem. How's Jimmy doing? Jimmy's dead. No, I'm just kidding. It's just the joke we're doing is RIP Jimmy Snow. No, Jimmy's doing okay. Yeah, we are Jimmy Snow. We carry the flame. I do want ice cream. Chat got me want ice cream right now real bad. Well, I'm glad you can admit that you were wrong in that situation. That to me is the mark of somebody who's genuinely listening and not just like, I got mad at the words that I said. I think there are some really important issues going on right now. What are we at? 700 bills that have been made against LGBTQ people, especially the trans community, this year. Let me look. Yeah, 778 bills have been introduced in 2026 that are anti-trans bills. I think it's an important thing to talk about trans rights. I think it's really important. Systemic racism, like that one kind of is important to me specifically, you know? I don't know why, but you know, it's just kind of important to me specifically. Abortion, I think, is important because a lot of people have lost access. Number 5 is just broad. We can talk about a lot of shit with 5. And 6, I think, goes to like a litany of things. Now, I'm gonna switch up topics later this week, so I very much might add American imperialism to the board. One of the topics I've been debating adding is the American experiment is a failure. I'm gonna text Jimmy. I'm gonna say hashtag rest in peace Jimmy Snow is trending in my chat. Take so for Jimmy Snow. He'd appreciate that one. New debate topic. Jimmy Snow is dead. Prove me wrong. When did I take that? 5 o'clock, right? 5 o'clock is when I took my, I should really start a fucking alarm. 5 o'clock is when I took that ibuprofen. So 10 o'clock is when I can pop more. I need to get better at setting consistent alarms. For the funeral fund. Brother, that's fucking hilarious. 219-327-8005 if you want to debate. It might be the case that we're like there's nobody calling in, guys. That's just a reality we have to face. There are 2 losers in chat asking about number 4. Well, then they can call in. It's real easy. At any point when someone is pregnant, they should be able to remove a pregnancy from their body. Point blank, period. You should be able to remove consent at any time. Otherwise, it's not consent, it's coercion. I hope Jimmy doesn't experience any mental trauma from this incident. For real, though. I disagree. I hope he experiences mad mental trauma. Get hashtag RIP Jimmy Snow trending on Threads. For real. Jimmy go ahead back and be like, stop telling people I'm dead. Like, no. The least Jimmy could do for reparations would have been dying in a car accident. That's the least. I'm just kidding. Jimmy's like legitimately my best friend. It would actually, I'd be really upset if he died in a car accident. You think the MAGA movement will go away once Trump is gone? No, someone in chat mentioned it earlier, and it's so true. They're just folding into the America First movement. That's why you're seeing red MAGA hats be switched to red America First hats. They're just folding into the next Republican gotcha. Jimmy dies in a car accident. He actually just activated a million Jimmy Snows. So stupid. How long have you and Jimmy known each other? Like a year at this point? I don't know. Feels like too long, I'll be honest with you. What is taking these screening calls so long? What are these callers doing? Who said they were? Jimmy definitely used the F word before I did. Yeah. Okay, looks like we finally got a call. All right, coming up next is Alex from Texas calling to talk about topic number 6, abolition of police and prisons. Alex, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
My age is 30. I hit the big 3-0 this year, and pronouns are he, him, by and large.
All right, cool. Now, Alex, I do believe we should abolish police and prisons. Specifically, we should abolish the carceral and retributive state of justice that our criminal justice system operates under, and move to more of a rehabilitative and restorative justice model. Do you disagree? And if so, why?
I have disagree with your statement. I do not think that our current retributive system is forward-thinking, and it causes a lot of issues with recidivism. Now, granted, a general abolitionist structure is the point that I disagree with.
What do you disagree with on the, like, can you be a little more specific?
So I have a background in criminal justice. I've studied the criminal justice system, and it was one of the things that made me not want to go into the criminal justice system. I don't know what neck of the woods you're from or what your prison systems looks like, but down here in Texas, they're not exactly ideal. Incarcerated individuals lacking heat in the winter and air conditioning in the summer when it can get to 115 degrees. Yeah, so while I don't necessarily, I don't agree with the retributive system, you're kind of looking back at like Hammurabi's code as far as how it's implemented. Abolishing the system at large, in my opinion, is unnecessary. You can implement reforms and stuff like that with the current system that we have, provided that you get rid of private prisons.
I mean, I would disagree with that slightly.
state-run.
I mean, we could look at Texas. Texas has state-run prisons where they don't pay their employees, they don't pay their prison workers quite literally anything, and they punish their prison workers for not working. I just getting rid of private prisons isn't going to change any of this. A question I have for you is, what do you believe the goal of a prison should be?
I think it should be twofold. One, removing people from general society just long enough that they can learn job skills, whether it be getting a GED, whether it be learning how to be a licensed electrician, plumber, something that removes the need for crimes of necessity. Theft.
So you think the
I
goal
don't
of
think that.
prison? Let me rephrase it. You think the goal of prison should be essentially rehabilitative care, but what is the current goal of prison?
Well, hang on. You didn't let me finish. That should be the primary function of it. The secondary function of it, though, is there are certain antisocial behaviors that there is no remediation from. You're talking serial rapists. I apologize. I don't know if I can say that on air or not. People that have been convicted of continuous abuse of a minor. Your individuals that have or wish to cause mass harm. We're kind of, when it comes to those, you're kind of at a catch-22. Either you throw them in prison and you try to, let them live out the rest of their lives as humanely as possible, just isolated from society at large, where, which they, for some reason or another, cause harm, or, and I want to be clear, I am not advocating for this, or you just remove them from the gene pool.
So here, I just want to point something out. If we're talking about people with true compulsions to which they cannot control and that they are going to commit violence against somebody else or themselves, we're looking at less than 1% of the population. So I'm not going to gear
right.
So I'm not going to gear a system towards less than 1% of the population, because a system has to work for everybody in the system. It can't be we're going to gear the system to work towards the worst of the bunch, who again are going to, and this is talking about people with true true anti-personality disorders that lead them to compulsively commit crime, not just people who may commit violence. I'm talking about people that compulsively cannot stop themselves.
We're not trying to do pre-crime here. Yeah,
exactly. So this would be under 1% of the population. I don't think it does anybody good to say, let's design our prison system to make sure that it's harshly punishing that 1%, when those harsh punishments are triggered on 99% of people that go.
Well, I don't know. Okay. I do believe I phrased this incorrectly, which led to a slight miscommunication. That's not what I'm representing. Again, we should remove the idea of punitive out of it. In an ideal system, right? Because you did mention 1%. 1% of 375 million Americans is still 3.75 million people, which is, proportionately not a lot, but it is still enough to where we have to account for that, right?
But I think we account for that through care models, not through carceral models. Carceral models don't do anything except still give these people a chance to commit these violent compulsions. Save
have the chance to commit
complete
those in
isolation.
Prison.
Yeah, but that they're still committing them, right? One of my biggest issues with people who are still
sorry, that wasn't a disagreeing statement. That was
okay.
Me adding on to your statement.
Yeah.
Being a contrarian there.
No problem. The carceral model here, though, it doesn't accomplish anything in my humblest educated opinion, right? So instead, we need to look at care models.
Yeah. Yes, and yes, that's why I said I half disagree with you, right? I disagree with the concept of abolition because we already have all of the infrastructure in place. And again, yes, I understand that if you abolish prisons, it's not like they're just going to immediately Thanos snap out of existence.
Well,
Huntsville,
abolition is
Texas
a
isn't
bottom
just
up.
going to be
Abolition is
completely
a
empty.
bottom up. It's a bottom up model. You don't start with abolition. You
Yeah.
work towards abolition by adjusting the social and economic conditions in society that lead to the need for police and prisons.
I don't think, and call me a little jaded, or pessimistic in that regard. I don't think it's ever something it's a good dream to work towards. I don't think it's possible to move to an end state where there is no need for the intervention of the state in regards to the criminal process. Now, yes, again, my statement is yes, we need to move away from retributive justice systems and move more towards rehabilitative prison structures, as well as moving back towards community-oriented policing. So things such as showing preferential hiring, for police officers that have lived in the community. I know
why do we
I
need
know with
police
Texas,
officers in the first place? That would be my question.
So I'm actually going to, yes, and if you'll give me the liberty, what is your opinion on what the actual purpose of police are?
Police are
and I'm not
a
gonna.
tool of violence utilized by a state to maintain property protection. They exist as a tool
Okay.
for property, which is my rejection of
So
my primary objection.
my
to
counterpoint,
them.
my counterpoint is, in an ideal system, if you look at like the what is it? Oh my God, it's been a while since I've read these textbooks, but I think it's the Pennsylvania model, right? The idea, okay. It is, and this is, my conjecture. It is not the responsibility of the state to protect you. It is your job to protect yourself, unless you cannot, right?
I mean, I would,
and I'm not necessarily.
I would say that should not be. Are we talking about what is or what ought be? Is, I would agree with you that that is the function
and also
of the
ought
state.
be.
I don't think that ought be. No, I don't think it ought be the case
Right,
that the state
like,
does not protect the people.
Well, against individuals, it is right. Like at the end of the day, and what I mean by that, and again, I'm not just saying carry a 1911 on you, and anybody that looks at you sideways blow a hole in them, right? Like it is your job as a living, functioning human being, right, to be aware of your surroundings, be what you say to people, and and to take your own safety and the safety of those that you care about that are around you as your number one priority, right? In that regard, right? So it's essential to be able to pursue life, liberty, and to achieve the pursuit of happiness, right? It is the function of the state in an ideal system. Now, I will agree with you in the fact that due to a multitude of factors that you and I don't have time to go through today, the police system does not necessarily function in the regard of protecting communities from specifically, people that have habitual antisocial behaviors.
So
right.
I mean, I do just want to fundamentally disagree on the purpose of the state. I think it absolutely in a functional system, it should be the purpose of the state to protect its citizens from outside threats and inside threats, whether that be each other or not. I think it's also it should also functionally be the purpose of the state to provide for citizens. Like, right? I think the state should functionally be responsible for all of these things if you're going to have a state at all.
Well, my counterpoint to that, though, is the relative impossibility of the state being able to protect every single person from every single other person. Right?
I don't think we're saying, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's the case that the state must always fulfill this. I'm saying that should be the goal. Obviously, the state's not going to be able to fulfill it 100% of the time every time, but that should absolutely be the goal. The goal should be protection. It should be community protection. It shouldn't be policing.
Okay, but okay. So, but that's my point. You notice the and I don't know if you did this intentionally or not, but you and I are on the same vein of protecting a community at large, right? Protecting a community at large does not necessarily indicate that you are protecting each and every single person at all times, right? You are looking at relevant risk factors and going, okay, I'm just going to pull a couple of examples here. Walter P. Herman, the guy that's been homeless for 15 years, sleeps under the bridge and picks up garbage in the park. Is he really a risk to the community at large? I would say no. Aside from, maybe sometimes when you're on your jog and he hasn't had a shower in a while and it's the middle of the summer, it might be a little unpleasant. I just want to make sure
we're centering this here. Police, as they are now, just so I make sure we're on the same page, are not a function of community protection. They, as a function in the community, are a net negative. They lead to more harm than they protect from.
That, I think, comes down to them being utilized in situations that they are not educated, equipped, and trained for.
But that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if you've ever. I call them wrong tool, wrong job injuries.
But wait, this is what I'm saying. Police don't get educated on these things because that's not their function, or that's not their goal. Their goal is to protect state property interests. Not even personal property interests. Police don't really give a fuck what happens to your personal property. They're there to protect state property interests. This is why police will shoot robbers when they're running away, because they don't really care about the person. And we know they're not going to protect you. I mean, the Supreme Court already said they're under no legal obligation to protect anybody. They can't be punished for lack of protection.
So my point to that, though, is one, there is a massive amount of decentralization in how our police agencies receive funding and what they use that funding on. Case in point, a perfect example is a local police department got like $3.75 million of taxpayer money to go towards training and, of varying varieties, and instead turned around and spent that money on some bomb defusal robots for SWAT. When SWAT's, the county in general has never had a bomb threat, and their SWAT agency is, or not agency, it's a subsect of the police department, has like 7 guys in it. And then got some unmanned aerial vehicles for use in like surveillance and stuff like that, which they promptly crashed 2 of them into a fire truck on their demonstration day, destroying them beyond repair. Right. So again, my deal is instead of looking towards abolition, right, which in my opinion is kind of a pipe dream. It's not going to happen, right? It comes from me being pragmatic, right? Instead, working from the ground up to change the systems. The problem is these aren't systems that you can change from the bottom up, right? You can't go and
I
put
disagree.
policies in for correctional officers that is going to change the system at large.
No,
right?
that's not what we mean with bottom up. You put in policies that affect the socioeconomic conditions people live in to the point where police are going to serve no function. So for instance, we can look at property crime. We know that the biggest indicator of property crime is wealth inequality. You focus on wealth inequality, you drop property crime to a point where police are essentially going to be doing nothing because you've dropped it so significantly. Police already barely deal with these things. I think violent crime, they spend, what is it, like 4% of their yearly time on duty is spent handling violent crime?
That really depends on the jurisdiction and whether they're.
I'm giving an average.
So the problem with pulling.
Just really quickly, it's just an
yes,
average.
but
it's just an average across the country.
No, I understand that. Right, I understand, but that is a polluted average. Not saying that it's intentionally polluted by you. That's not what I'm saying, right? Just hear me out, right? So there are differences in job duties between sheriffs, constables, police. You know, if your state has state troopers, here in Texas we do. Some just have highway patrol. So I'm not going to speak, broadly, but when you're talking about dealing with violent crime and you're pulling those statistics, you're looking at a vast majority of police departments which preside over, towns that have 100 people in them, or counties that have, if you count all two legs of everybody there, you might hit 200, right? Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of violent crime out there, and the ones that aren't necessarily going to get reported. So I want to say off the top of my head, only around 60% of cases regarding violent crime are even reported to the police for them to do anything about. And then you have further stipulations of lack of evidence, so on and so forth, that don't necessarily allow for them to just go and pull people out of their houses.
I do just want to point out, talking about whether violent crime is under or overreported wouldn't matter in the statistic I've given. Which is just that police.
I apologize. You are talking to somebody that's got a little bit of ADHD, so I get caught in rabbit holes. I apologize.
Yeah, my whole point behind this is, again, I mean, we've seen it in areas that have addressed these socioeconomic concerns. We see a decrease in the need for police. So I am more in support of having a service, right? Like, we can still have, in my view, an agency, like a state agency that handles community protection, but it has to be vastly different and work vastly different and have vastly different goals than right now, which police are just glorified slave catchers. They're used to catch people that the state deems a negative or a threat, so that way the state can misuse and have more cheap labor. That's like the whole point of police.
So can you provide any examples that are at the, I would say state level, right? And when I say state level, I'm not just saying in the United States, please do, look to, because the one that I'm thinking off the top of my head, as far as overall rates of crime, I mean, there's Singapore, but that's because they just, get rid of the people that commit crime. So I'm not going to use that statistic because, again, that's kind of a polluted statistic. But you're kind of up looking at Sweden, Switzerland.
Are you asking me for places outside of why would I need to get places outside of the U.S.?
Well, because in my personal opinion, countries kind of across the pond do policing a little bit better than we do. One, their funding structure is, not hierarchical is the incorrect word here, but there is a hierarchy in place that forces the use of funds for things such as training, better pay, better pensions, because the more you pay people, the more likely the good ones are going to stick around. It also offers a financial incentive for getting rid of the ones that aren't any good at their job or cause problems. So their education requirements are higher.
We have direct examples of municipalities in the U.S. that, in focusing on socioeconomic conditions, have been able to, I won't say they've gotten rid of the need for police, right? But they've been able to significantly decrease the role that police have had to play. We have direct areas in the U.S. that have done this. So we know that this is this is accomplishable.
Well, it is. You are capable of reducing the need for police, but you're not able to eliminate the need for them. Not in a way that ensures.
But I don't think. I think right now, what I think is happening is I think you're sort of talking past the point I'm making, which is the thing that police would be necessary for, which is community protection, can be done by an agency whose goal is not incarceration. Because the goal being incarceration, that's the goal of police. The goal of police are to throw people in jail who commit crime. That's their goal. Their goal is to catch people who commit crime.
Yeah,
and their goal is to put those people away. Their goal is to put the bad guys away, quote unquote. Right? That's the goal of police.
I would say that's not true. The idea behind police is to
ever make it to be anything but
that. Because it's not the police's job to put those people behind bars. Their job is to hold them somewhere until they see a judge, and they go before a judge and a prosecutor, who specifically the prosecutor's job is the one that's supposed to put them behind bars, right? Like, you can't be held, unless you're getting brought in on terrorism charges, but we're going to avoid that topic in its entirety. I'm not a big fan of the Patriot Act, and its subsequent acts that came through, right? But you can't be held indefinitely in jail without seeing a judge.
I don't know what. Here's my issue: is that we're separating policing from the like larger that of the criminal justice system. Like, sure, police aren't the direct people that throw you in jail, but to act like police aren't a part of that, they're like a if the whole criminal justice system is like a fan, police are one of the blades, right? Yes, the state prosecutors would be another part of that blade, but police and state prosecutors work very closely together. Like, sometimes police will call the ADAs and be like, "Hey, do I have a case? Like, if I bring this person in, do you have a case?" I'm like, "Yes, bring them in." Like, their goal is to assist the state in catching and throwing people into prison for two reasons: to remove them from society and to generate the state profit.
Okay. So, of which, one of them can be depending on the method of incarceration, can be beneficial if done correctly. Again, you can look at foreign models for that and look at their recidivism rates, right? So the issue is,
but again, what's more? Yes, but that's because like, if we're looking at like the Norwegian model, it's not even a prison. The way they handle, the reason they've got the recidivism so low is they treat you much more like you're on a college campus than they do you're on in a prison, right? So my overall point here, and again, this is me saying this is not a prison. This has become something different entirely. So when I say abolishment of police in prison, we're saying that because the goals of this thing have changed so drastically, because the outfits of these things have changed so drastically, because the goal, outcome, and because the method of treating these things has changed so drastically, right? I couldn't call this a prison system anymore.
You wouldn't be far off in saying that it's about 2.5 steps away from being slave labor camps, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you.
I mean, I wouldn't even say 2.5 degrees. I'd say most prisons engage in slave labor, right? Like, what does the average prison pay?
Yes.
Still like 60 cents an hour, and like what is it? Like 60% of all prison workers
No. Texas they just got a raise to 85 cents an hour.
No, but the
that was sarcasm.
nationwide average.
Okay.
Yeah. The nationwide average is still 60.
Yeah, no, that was me being sarcastic.
Yeah, and it's like about 70% of all prison work is involuntary. They're working due to threats of removed privileges or consequences.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah,
this is slave labor.
Yeah, and again, my whole deal is okay. My whole deal about the abolition argument is it is not an effective way to, and I'm talking about the language behind it, right? Because again, yes, you can move towards some sort of community security agency, but at the end of the day, you've just created police and you've changed their name. Right, like
I don't.
Like at the end of the day,
it's not just a change in name; it's a complete change in function, in goal, and in outcome. That's not just a name change.
Okay. So you're not changing the goals. What you're doing is you're eliminating the unnecessary
nope, we're
goals,
absolutely changing the goals.
The goal is property.
No. The goal in this case is rehabilitation. The goal right now, the goal of police and prisons right now is not rehabilitation. That's absolutely a change.
Again, though,
a change in
when you speak about rehabilitative justice systems, though, you have to isolate that into the place wherein that form of reconciliation is taking place, right? The police argument behind rehabilitative justice, that's not necessarily involved in that regard, because once the police get you, put you in jail, you go before a prosecutor, right? None of that takes place as far as, I mean, maybe besides having the prosecutor involved, none of that's really involved in rehabilitation, right? The point of police and a rehabilitative justice system is to find the people that are committing antisocial behaviors, right? Collect evidence so that way they can be incarcerated and rehabilitated. That's their role in this regard, right? In which,
all right. I just gotta let you know, Alex, we have reached time. We have reached time in the conversation. But I just again,
that's perfectly fine.
I think I just to relay my final thoughts. When the purpose, the outcomes, and the function have all changed from carceral and retributive justice to rehabilitative and restorative justice, I think it would be silly to continue calling this police, to continue calling it a prison. That's my overall argument on that. But Alex, I'm gonna let you go.
That's fine.
Yep, that's fine. Sorry, what?
Oh, I was just gonna say, it was a pleasure speaking with you once again. I spoke to you a while back, and good luck with your show. And have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too. W's to Levi. Levi said, "The people want the white man kicked. Is it really an assumption?" That's crazy. My issue is like, I don't know how you don't have the same system if you're changing the form, the function, the goal, and the outcomes. You don't have the same system at all. Like, imagine I had a cafeteria and the purpose of this cafeteria was to make food for people. And then I gut everything inside of it, and now it's an art studio. Well, I don't know that I would say I have a cafeteria anymore. The goal is no longer to cook food. The goal is to make art. Right? Does that make sense? That's a bad analogy. I got to think of a better analogy. Dead air? Meh. I'll turn on the music so there's not as much dead air. I'm just waiting for calls. Let me think. Oh, this is a good analogy. This is a good analogy. Modern mental health institutions. They're not just like updated asylums, right? When you have like a modern mental health, like, right? Like the whole goal and function has changed. So like it would be really silly to call a modern mental health institution an asylum. Does that make sense? Is that a good one? I feel like that's a great one, TBH. Trying to think of some others to convey the same meaning. Honestly, I guess you could just use a caterpillar, right? A butterfly is not a caterpillar. They go through a pretty significant change. It's good, but I don't want you to feel happiness, so it's bad and I hate it. Is the most real shit a commentator has ever said to me in my life. God damn. What do we say? 30 minutes, and then we'll go watch Sunny Boy in the Discord. Who's down? Who's down? How do you join the Discord? You have to be either a member on YouTube, either tier 1 or higher, or a sub on Twitch. I keep my Discord locked because it got hate rated a bunch of times. One time they just posted a bunch of porn bots, like they sent in porn bots. Another they doxed me. and we're like posting my address in my Dolton Discord server, an old address, not my current one. So yeah, so my Discord's just locked down, just for safety of myself, and it helps keep ops out, you know. Bro, someone tried to once order pizza to my house, and they tried to like call Domino's and send Domino's to me, but I order Domino's fairly regularly. I'd say like once every 2 weeks or so I get some Domino's, and I know the people that work there now. Like I knew the delivery guys, I had talked to them and whatnot. So when the order came in, it was for something. It was not for my usual. I order the same thing every time. So they call me and they're like, "Did you order this?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Okay, we'll cancel that." I was like, "Oh, cool." They also know I always prepay, so they were like, "Yeah," and then it didn't have the payment on it, so we didn't trust it. I was like, "W." Everyone knows you live on site at Disney. Fuck, I would do. Bro, Forrest, what the fuck, bro? Bro, Forrest, I'm screenshotting this. This is fucking so crazy. Forrest, do I have your consent to drop these DMs? You're obviously, you're listening. Do I have consent to post these fucking DMs? This is fucking crazy. It's fucking wild, Forrest Valkyrie. Someone come get white boy Forrest. He going crazy. Johnny, thank you for the Cash App. Said for thinking of you have pronouns in Uno XB meme. I don't know what that means, but thank you either way. Lost without you. All right, it looks like calls have slowed down. Oh, like it's the you have Uno video. That's one of my favorite things. You have Uno. It came on everybody's Xbox. It's free. It's one of my favorite fucking old internet videos. I love when people go, I don't have pronouns. I don't use pronouns in an identity way. That's the only way that they're ever used, is to identify. It's so stupid. Okay. No, it's not. I have the oldest Xbox known to man. We are going to go to Discord to watch Sunny Boy. So if you want to watch Sunny Boy with us in Discord, you got to get over there. If you don't have my Discord, ask a mod. There's no more calls, so. I will be live tomorrow with Dalton and Jeff at like 6 p.m. Thursday with John, me and him, Godless Engineer, if you know him. Me and him will be live at 11 on Thursday. Friday will be Gaming Friday. We're probably gonna try to finish Garten of Banban. We're on episode 3. Oh god, I'm gonna fucking blow my brains out. But either way, that's Friday. Friday stream will be raising money for something. I don't know if we'll be raising money for myself because my trip is up, or if we'll be raising money for like the mutual aid fund. Who knows? I don't know what I'm gonna do on Friday. No stream Saturday. Sunday I leave. So you might get a little bit of a stream Saturday, but Sunday I leave and I won't be live again till Thursday. You've got tons of content lined up through the end of the month, and then there's a bunch lined up for June. So you will have tons of content while I'm gone. I might even push to 4 videos a day while I'm gone. So 2 videos in the morning, 2 videos in the evening. Just because I'll be gone, so maybe I'll preload you guys up with 4 videos a day while I'm gone. Anything else I'm forgetting? Thank you to guys. Thank you to those who super chatted. Thank you to people who sent tips on Cash App or Venmo. I'm gonna go Jovan on my Bradley till I debate. So come to Discord if you want to come watch Sunny Boy with us. And we will be over in the Discord. Thanks for watching. Bye.